Gentlemen, how are we doing today as we hide behind this thumbnail?
Hello.
Doing great, man. Always good on Hump Day.
On Wes-Sinn-day. And does that mean Wes is synonymous with hump? Is there a lot of humping going on over at the Dillon household?
It depends on who you talk to, but I don't kiss and tell, bro. Not here anyway. That's what Discord's for.
Wow. We got to hang out on Discord more often. Everybody fucking join us on Discord. Click the link in the description below and come find out what kind of humping Wes does on Wes-Sinn-day after the
We're
show.
on Discord right now.
Nice.
Hashtag Ask Wes.
You have a channel, right? Oh yeah, you do have an Ask Wes channel. We're going to have to get an Ask Alek channel in there. We're going to get all the Swordsman people to come over to our Discord.
I'm down.
Yeah, and you got a good community over there.
I'll be in there all day.
Do you tell people you're going to be on the show today?
No, that's a good point.
No, dude, no. It's very on brand of Without Parole not to advertise anything we do. So well done.
No. I mean, it's a good call. It's a good call for sure.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Miles is the only one good with social media around here. So, like, I am not that guy. Let's start the show. It's like we're already 3 minutes in. Here we go. This is PSVR GAMESCAST Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I know which day today is because of who's here. Also, I'm feeling like my background not brown enough. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole, and the gentleman to my right, starting in the middle, is Alek from Sin Studio, developers of Swordsman VR, which we're going to be talking a lot today. How are you, my friend?
It's good to be back, man. I'm so psyched to be here. We got some exciting things to talk about today, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Not even just Swordsman. I mean, the Metaverse and a lot of exciting things going on. What's going on in the Metaverse?
I don't microtransactions. I'm pretty sure. That's,
yeah.
Not thrilled. And that cut in the right hand side of the screen with. I mean, you're coming to us from the Swordsman game, man. I feel like you really went above and beyond today. It's Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers.
Well, I was a little bit winded from all of the decapitation, so I just decided to camp out here and do the show from inside the game. So
that's awesome.
It's so good.
I wish there were people fighting in the background. And I hate to ask you to go further than you already went, but like there's not enough blood for me. We just need a bunch of dead bodies there. All the guys Wes just killed. I'm gonna get you a custom one.
Honestly, I've got like 2 games where I can have active background with Half-Life Alyx and Fallout 4, and that because that's all I can find on YouTube. But I've been meaning to just like start like hit record as I go to bed and record like some more games so I can have active games going on behind me at all times.
What do you need? Just some video footage? Is that what you need?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the rat scene, of course. Obviously, we don't want to be staring at the toilet in Doom 3 all day, but there are, pick the right scene out in about 3 hours of idle footage, and we're good to go.
Nice. We're kicking off today's show with a tip from Donatello the Scientist Gamecat. $10 tip in the chat says, excited about Swordsman Physical. Better believe I will get one of the 1,500 copies. Did a limited run games come to you, or did you take initiative? Who decides how many copies will be released? There's a lot of questions here, and I feel like maybe this is a good transition to get right into our first topic of the day, which is you announced today, Alek, that limited run games will be doing a physical version of Swordsman VR, and $34.99, 1,500 copies available. Dude, can we just jump right in and start with Donnie's questions here? Like, did they come to you? Did you go to them? How does this all work?
Yeah, no, we actually reached out to them. I mean, it's hard to do a full physical release this late into the cycle. Publishers typically don't like that, and LRG is that kind of weird one that will do things like this, and you don't have to have a launch title to do it with. Because I know we were talking when Swordsman came out, or before it came out, with a publisher to do like just straight up full physical version. And it didn't end up working out. There was a lot of timing issues and things like that. So this was a great opportunity. When I found out about LRG, potentially through you guys, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I think this could really work. And yeah, we reached out and they were very excited right away. Like they knew it would be a good fit. And the other question that he asked was like, who decided how many? And it's more of a back and forth. I think initially they suggested less than that. And so we when we kind of got around to thinking about it, like we realized this is probably something that would sell out really quickly. And a little bit more back and forth, and we ended up with 1,500 to sell, like to actually ship. We are getting a few extras for like promotional purposes, like we'll do some giveaways, send some to influencers for like unboxings and things like that. But yeah, 1,500. It's a really interesting process back and forth. But we reached out to them.
You said they wanted to do less than 1,500. Like that was.
I think it was like 1,200 or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. Because to be, it probably doesn't make that much of a difference, like financially, right? Like it's like you're really going to like make a ton of extra money off 300 more copies, or they're going to make a ton of extra money. But for the collectors out there, this is really for, right? Some people out there will say, yeah, I'm only going to buy games if they come out physically. But I think most of the people who buy it are going to be people who already own the game and just want it up on their own bookshelf. So like in my book, the fewer out there, the better. Like it just makes it more desirable, more collectible.
I think that's what they were going for. But yeah, I mean, the extra few hundred, I don't think 1,500 makes it any less or that much less desirable for collectors.
Oh, for sure.
It is ultimately the same game. Like it does have a cool, like the print on the inside is the map of Swordsman. So it's got a little bit of an interesting vibe, but yeah, you're right. Like for collectors, it's definitely a great one.
Nice. Yeah. 1,500 is great. I've been following Limited Run for a long time, and they've kind of upped their production runs over time. A lot of times it's just, we're just going to have an open pre-order, and however many people order it over the next month, that's how many we're going to make, which is like, in my book, a little bit bullshit, because it's like you don't, unless it says, oh, well, we sold 6,732 copies. It's like, I have no idea how rare this thing is that I purchased. So I kind of like it when it's a set number, and 1,500 is still very low for them.
Yeah, that urgency, I think, definitely adds to it. I mean, we like for us personally, we're not doing it to like make money or something like that. It was just a really cool idea, like having a collector's version out there, having people chase after it, and even just having those extra copies to do giveaways with and contests with. It just adds a lot more fun to the whole Swordsman thing. But yeah, 1,500 seems pretty good.
This is going to be the version on disc will be kind of like the final version of Swordsman, I'm guessing. Like you've got the advanced combat update coming next month with the updated AI and motion capture and all that stuff. I'm assuming that will be the version that's on the disc.
No, so we had to do there's a little bit of a weird process to get this thing on LRG or on disc. Like we had to basically do a remaster on Sony's end, because initially when you start a game, they ask you like, is this going to be digital only, physical only, or both? And whatever you pick with, like certain things change in the back end that don't really allow you easily to switch later. And so we had to kind of do a remaster thing and go through QA from scratch basically, and then LRG had a little bit of a QA thing where they made sure the everything was there, that it would work on disc and everything. So this was a fairly lengthy process, like 4 months, something like that. And so it happened a while ago. This is before we had advanced combat, before the most recent update. I don't remember exactly which version of the game is on it, but yeah, you'll have to, if you're going to actually play it on the disc, you'll have to, as long as you have an internet connection, it'll prompt you to update, and you'll get that advanced combat update right away.
Right on. Let's get caught up with the tips here. Darth Vader, the Gamecat, with a $10 tip says, "I love Swordsman. Love the work you put into the game, Alek. Hope all the cats are well."
Thank you.
And of course, it's not just you over there. How many people you got going at Sin Studio at the moment?
There's 10 of us now. It's really exciting. Yeah, it's very exciting. We recently got two new people. One of them's a dev. Yeah, I mean, oh man, there's just so much going on, and I love how much we're able to do now compared to before. Like when we started out after launch, I mean, there's a few of us, and we had to really like pick and choose like what we're going to implement, how long it was going to take, and stuff like that. But now there's people working on 2 updates in the future. There's stuff already being worked on, and so that's really cool. There's some pretty big stuff going on in the background.
Co-op.
Did you say co-op?
So, who, me? I heard that. I don't know who said that, but yeah. What about co-op?
We have talked about it in a more serious light, and the only issue with it is it's a very big overhaul, and so if that's something that we add to Swordsman 1, it'll have to be a little bit later when we can afford to take a big gap between updates. Like we could potentially be looking at like a 4 to 6 month difference. I mean, we could probably still, patch in some minor things in between, but the focus on these like sort of larger updates that we're used to will have to shift to that kind of co-op approach if we did that. So, I mean, it's possible. We have talked about it. I don't want to promise anybody anything. Please don't, take that too seriously, because I don't want you to be disappointed. But I do want to say, though, on that note, what I could say for sure is that moving forward, all of our projects are going to prioritize both offline and online. They're all going to have multiplayer, and they're all going to be playable solo, and not in like a multiplayer as a gimmick bonus mode, or there's an offline gimmick mode type of thing, but 2 polished, equally prioritized ways to play the game. Yeah, but multiplayer, future-wise, is definitely a very, very serious thing for us.
I think everybody just heard it here first, right? Swordsman 2, PSVR 2, co-op.
Boom. Yep. You took the words right out of my mouth.
I don't know.
Nah, he's
confirmed.
Smart.
Confirmed.
No, you guys aren't done seeing Swordsman, that's for sure. Like we have trademarked Swordsman, the name, in the gaming category, so that's not for no reason. There's definitely a lot of exciting ideas floating around. Again, no guarantees on anything or when or what, but yeah, Swordsman is definitely going to be a big part of our future, at least.
This is what we like to do here
2.
without Parole. We like to get developers on the show and then just like corner them and say
live.
Right? They make us say shit that you can't say. No
pressure.
Right. This is great, man. What were the other what was the other did Donnie have any more questions as part of that tip? You said the map, there's a map on the back, because dude, nothing's worse than opening up a physical copy of a game and just being like, oh, there's just a disc in here, but there's a map on the back. So that's is that new artwork? Is there going to be we gotta get a collector's card and shit like that, like everything that goes with normal limited run thing?
So yeah, you're gonna get the card for sure, and that print on the back of the case with the map. I'll show you which map it is, and what I'm about to show you is not. I don't want to excite anybody too much yet. It's something that we made for the influencer boxes that will be coming in the near future, but also for giveaways and things like that. We don't have a merch store yet, so obviously this isn't something we can do at scale. But we do have a mouse pad of the map. I don't know how clearly you can see it.
I'm gonna put you big screen. Hold on. There we go. Switch it to big. Whoa.
Thing's awesome.
So this is the map that's on the back of the case. Obviously not this big, but this is the kind of stuff we've been playing around with, and I've spoken to Almer on the team a few times about this, and we really think in the future, like having little fun things like this, Swordsman related, is going to be really cool. I think that's something we can explore for sure.
Nice.
But yeah, for the case, it's just the print and the disc in the case. Yeah.
Very cool, Alek. Thanks for the little inside information. Also, I don't know if I just missed this somehow, but today when I was putting together the breaking news video, I saw that you'd posted in your Discord that as part of this update that's coming next month, the Advanced Combat update, there's a new playable character you're going to play as. Is this the first time you've said this before? Because I don't remember hearing this prior to today.
This has been on the roadmap, and it was moved to the coming soon, and then it was moved into the update, but it wasn't really heavily talked about until we got her to show people. But yeah, it's a female character that you can play. You're basically just toggling, the sexes. All the armors are the same. This is one of the things that people got a little bit confused about, it's the same armors that we have right now, but reshaped to fit her body. And in that example, I don't know if you have it on your end to bring up, but in that example, she's wearing the royal armor, just the female version of it. Yeah.
Oh, is there an image?
Yeah, it's on our Instagram. I could send you. Do you want me to send it to you, or do you want to find it on your end?
Yeah. Send it along, man. Send it along. Let's get this fucker on the screen. I was actually looking for again anything just to kind of shove into the breaking news report today, and I wish I had seen that prior to this conversation.
I should have told. I mean, I gave you a heads up about the LRG thing. I totally flew over my head to show you this one. Yeah, I've got it there on Discord.
Let's bring it up here. That's not it. That's it. All right, let's get this thing up on the screen here. Boom. I think it's kind of stretched out inaccurately, but that's it right there.
So are you going to change the title of your game to Swords Person?
That's not the first time I'm hearing that idea.
I bet.
Not in a serious way, but yeah. That's an interesting one. I mean, like historically, a swordsman was not necessarily referring to men. Kind of like actor doesn't necessarily refer to a male actor.
So the answer is no. We're not getting a name change.
No. I mean, we did the whole trademark thing. It's a little late.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think everyone. It's at this point it's a little late to change the name, even if you wanted to. Which why would you want to? It's funny, you know, like so when I first heard the name Swordsman, and it was just like this is about as. I mean, it's kind of a little on the nose, right? It didn't sound exciting. It's like you just hear it as Swordsman. But I'll tell you, fucking this is the kind of shit that works. You know, Song in the Smoke was one of my favorite games of the last year, and like no one bought it. I think and the name had a lot to do with that. So it's like don't mess around. I think sometimes when you don't have to, especially when when you got a new IP, you want people to be excited about it. You want people to know what it is right off the bat without having to read too far into it.
Yeah, that's of course that's the reason. Like when people are scrolling through the store or something, or they hear about it, or they see a video about it, like they should get a good idea of what to expect just by reading that name to get that initial interest. Like it is dangerous to expect people to see a name that tells them nothing, for them to be curious enough to click it, to get there. And then even then, if the context of the game isn't clear enough, like if it's a little too edgy or too out there, like you're just kind of like separating that the potential for people to buy it, even if they might like it, if they don't even know to get that far, everybody loses in that way.
Your Long Shadows is Gamecat Meow. Rare in the chat says, I'm an angry feminist. Thumbs up on the title of this game. Waves approval stamp. And then AJ follows it up with Sword Cats VR. Has a nice ring to it.
Sword Cats, that's cute.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good mod for the PC version, right?
Yeah. we could do a mod on the console one like that.
Is Hell the only female boss? Braxbro kind of just pointed that out.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about female characters in general for the NPCs is like when we started the game and we got the characters that you can fight now, like they were all marketplace assets. We didn't have any artists on the team and stuff like that, and the packs didn't come with females, and there weren't any like female only packs. So trying to like mash together a bunch of assets that might not look like they belong in the same game, and it starts to look like an asset flip. Like we had to do even then a lot of work to like unify things and keep the art style consistent and actually make changes to the assets, but there just wasn't any option. And so now that we have artists on the team and we're constantly looking to hire people, like the idea is of course to be able to make everything from scratch and be able to actually have control over that creatively. It was never intentional that there were no females you could fight against.
Ash VR, the groovy game cat, rare with the $5 tip, says just got a new kitten. Adorable. No name yet. Suggestions? He's a polydactyl, meaning 7 fingers. I'm assuming there's been nothing but non-stop name suggestions in the chat. I'm doing my best to kind of get caught up on that.
Sounds like a dinosaur.
Polydactyl? Yeah. Thank God for dinosaurs. Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to pronounce that. We have Professor Lilith in the chat with a $5 tip. Says the Sunday multiplayer poll is now up on the Discord. Choose from Rush VR, thrilling, Tetris multiplayer, chilling, and touring cats. Oh man, guess what I got on the brain? Touring carts. Silly. Every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, we do some multiplayer meetups for anybody who doesn't have enough VR friends or people who just like to play multiplayer games. Don't forget to come join our Discord. Click the link in the description below. Sign up. And then Professor Lilith runs, thankfully, thank you so much. Really appreciate you doing this. Runs the Sunday multiplayer. And every week we vote on what games they're going to play. So Rush VR, Tetris multiplayer, or touring carts. God, Rush VR. I'd love to get a Rush VR game together. Maybe I should vote.
Absolutely.
Maybe I should play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't Tetris just get an update to the multiplayer, like a new mode? I want to say that it did.
Is there a new mode
Like
in Tetris Effect Connected?
There was a developer update in the Oculus thing yesterday or the day before, and it was describing some mode where you team up with the other players, and once you reach a certain threshold, there's some kind of a boss battle or something involved. But, I didn't read too far into it, but I haven't played the Tetris multiplayer yet, so it could very well be something that was already existing that I'm just now learning about. But I had the impression that it was a new update.
I'm so boring when it comes to multiplayer Tetris. I'm like, I just want to do like the simple one-on-one stuff. And so like they tried to take it further and like, have these, have these things where like you're working together and then like trying to take down this thing together. But you're also competing. And I was like, this is just too much. Like, I just want to fight somebody one-on-one. Although Tetris 99, I will say, one of the greatest Tetris games ever made. Nothing like playing a multiplayer game with 98 other Tetris players simultaneously. Unbelievable. We got Jay Meow in the chat with the $5 tip. Says, my dream game would be a swordsman dungeon crawler like Kingsfield. God, I hope it's better than Kingsfield. Has your team had any talks about having a swordsman adventure or dungeon crawler? Says this is where we put the spotlight on you, Alek, to go tell us stuff that you can't talk about.
Yes. I mean, of course. Like I said earlier, swordsman is something that is a big part of, where we come from, but also where we're going in the long run. And when you have a situation like that, it is very inevitable that conversations are going to happen about what that looks like, what that future looks like. And yeah, of course, an adventure game, a dungeon crawler, like those kinds of things have been very seriously discussed. Of course, I can't, as per usual, promise or guarantee or anything, but it's worth thinking about.
Yeah, confirmed. For PSVR 2, Swordsman 2, story-driven adventure game. You heard it here first.
With co-op.
With co-op, right? Exactly.
Right. Yeah, it sounds silly to say. It's guys. So I'm just not like kind of like the arena fighter kind of guy. Like I want there to be a story or like item management. Like I want to go from arena to arena, or I want there to be things happening from arena to arena. The dungeon crawling stuff, like, and that's why if I've ever not seemed super high on Swordsman, it's because it's just not my genre of game. I've loved what you've done with it, but man, it's like I think everyone agrees and everyone has the same conversation every time Swordsman comes up. There's gonna be people who love the arena stuff, and then the people like Jay Meow and me who are like, this, you've nailed the physics part, you've nailed the combat part, and then when we played the horde mode, where you go in, you had the horde mode, and it was just like you run around and kill zombies. I was like, I started to see the potential for where you could take this formula and say, you run into this room and like there's a you find a potion, you find an upgraded weapon, you find whatever, and like you slowly progress, and that got me kind of like excited about what you guys are doing over there. And I think Waleed is now a Gamecat, specifically a White Tiger Rare with a Canadian $2 tip. Agrees, says, I'll be honest, Swordsman 2 might be a gem for PSVR 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting the stuff you were just mentioning now with seeing the potential and experiencing something bigger and unusual in Swordsman, like the horde mode. Arguably, that's not even enough at all. Like the kinds of things we've talked about, and like what does the future of Swordsman look like? What could it look like? It has to be a lot bigger. It has to be a lot more impactful and much deeper. And like the reason I agree with you and a lot of people. Like if I could choose, I wouldn't necessarily want it to be an arena game either. And one of the reasons that it is like when we started developing it was just me, and so trying to tackle a story mode or an adventure game or whatever is just not feasible, and we didn't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. So an arena game is what it ended up being. But now that we have a bigger team and in the future an even bigger team, now we're starting to talk about much more serious things, and like medium to large scopes aren't unrealistic anymore, and just you could do that carefully and achieve something great. So yeah, I mean it's an exciting time.
Sorry, go ahead, Wes.
I was going to say I'm calling it now. I'm saying that we get Swordsman 2 before Undead Citadel.
Before Undead Citadel?
Yeah. For sure we'll get it before Undead Citadel.
Can you still hear us, Alek?
Yeah, I'm back now. Sorry, what did I miss?
Wes just threw down the gauntlet and said that we're going to get Swordsman 2 before we get Undead Citadel.
Oh, that's yeah, I figured that's what was going on.
Pietrek F in the chat with the 9 plantain said, Alek, AMD released FSR 2. Will PSVR 2 games use it? Okay, I'm lost. What is he talking about? Do you know?
Yeah, he's talking about super sampling. Like I don't know if they're going to, if there's going to be a way for us to use it easily. I think we can implement it ourselves or wait on Sony to make it easier. I mean, it's still early for us to say because we haven't dabbled in the PS5 side of things. And even if I could look it up on the PSVR 2 side of things, I don't think I could even say. I don't know if that's public.
Probably better safe than sorry. Right?
I could say in a very general sense that AMD advertises, I think it's Fidelity Super Resolution. Is that what something like that?
Yeah.
As something that is easily implemented and universal across all engines and all platforms. So, if I had to guess, I would say yes, but it's all speculation.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
but also how it might fare with VR.
That's true. There have been some games that have implemented it to mixed results. Like it actually, obviously it helps performance, but I've heard, and this is secondhand, that there are games that it actually pretty noticeably downgrades the quality of the game when you enable it. So that could be on the developer end, or it could just be a crap technology for that application. But again, time will tell, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the more seriously VR is taken, the more fine-tuned these kinds of technologies would be for VR applications. So I'm not worried. Yeah, long term, like the fact that we're able to develop for the PS5 with PSVR 2 with thumbsticks and just it's a powerhouse system. It's like we're gonna see insane things. Like we got Hitman 3 and Skyrim on the PS4. Like I can't even begin to imagine what AAA devs are gonna be able to do with the PS5 as is.
Well, speaking of the future,
yes.
Today, Sony had their corporate strategy meeting, which, I mean, if it sounds really boring, like corporate strategy meeting, then man, are you on the right page with us? Because I watched it, and it is 100% a corporate strategy meeting,
as advertised.
I mean, I don't even like. So, okay, so, everyone kind of got a little bit excited because like, oh, okay, Sony had their big meeting today and they're like talking about the future and they're talking about the Metaverse. And so there were like little key words that kind of got people excited. And then you watch the thing and it's like just so dry and boring. And it's probably everything a corporate strategy meeting is supposed to be. But I'll tell you, it hurt me just a little bit. They use a term called condo. And it's and it basically it's I don't know if it's a phrase they came up with or if it's something that, just in Japanese, but it's a term that they use to refer to games, music, and movies that touch people's heart. And the fact that they're using this word and like talking about, and we've made $17 billion off of these things that touch people's heart. I'm like, it just fucking ruins it for me. I'm like, corporate meetings talking about if we touch people's heart enough with movies, music,
Kondo
games.
Is like the life force. Oh, I cut out.
We can hear you. Oh, there you are. Everything's
I'm
good
back.
again. Everything's, yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you back, so I couldn't hear you talking.
No. Kondo's the what? You said the life force.
Yeah, they kind of branded it in this like woo way where it's like Kondo is life, almost like it's this like sustenance. Yeah, it was a weird thing. I mean, it's interesting, but it's very vague for me. I couldn't really. I don't know. It's interesting, but
yeah. Let's just say. Sorry, go ahead, Wes.
I was going to say I get your sentiment, Brian. It's almost as if they're studying people to discover what touches us emotionally, and then they're trying to use that to extract as much money as possible out of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And any successful business is, I mean, I guess, like doing that, to sustain themselves and to continue moving forward and continue growing and expanding or whatever. And it's a smart business strategy. It's just when people say it out loud, it just feels so icky, right? So icky.
Dirty, right?
yeah.
It's like it's as if like the head of Kondo at Sony is walking around different development studios going, need more heart in this game. God of War, need more heart, and then boy, that sounded fucking racist as hell. That sounded like somebody making terrible Japanese accent, which it was not supposed to be, obviously. But it's like they go, and then they go to some artist and they go, needs more heart. Needs more heart. People need to cry. And now I feel like it's Tarzan walking around. Tarzan said, "Need more heart." Needs more heart. It's just like you need to make people cry. You need to make people like emotionally invested in your shit. I don't know. It's just so weird when viewed in this with this lens. But so they go on. They say we're going to talk about the metaverse, and then they go on to say nothing about VR. Right? They talk about the metaverse for like 10 minutes. They say nothing about VR. Like, what, Alek? What? You watched this? What the hell were you able to? I get little notes here, left and right, man. All of it just says condo and money and Tarzan and shit. What did you extract from this? Because that's all I got.
Oh, man, it's actually a little bit telling of what's going on, and I've actually spoken to some people recently who are a little deeper in the sort of metaverse thing, particularly on the crypto side, and like I was exposed to some of the ongoings in that sense. But anyways, the way it kind of ties in together to this is like the way Sony at least describes it, the metaverse, is almost like a platform. And it's weird to say because they have a platform already, but a platform that unifies different mediums in a sort of streamlined way. And that's pretty much what Meta is also describing when they talk about the metaverse. But with Sony, it seems to be more sort of concentrated on entertainment, whereas Meta is more broadly talking about bringing the real world into VR. So you get to, it's like kind of like if Zoom and Facebook had a baby. That's like what Meta's metaverse is going to be, with a game page on the side or something. But yeah, Sony's thing is like it seems to be very much about entertainment, and some of the examples they brought up is like watching a concert live. Playing games, socializing. So these kinds of things. The interesting thing that kind of threw me off a little bit is Kitano at one point mentions that he mentions the standardization of the metaverse, having a de facto standard. And so he actually referred to it as an alliance between corporations. So it's having, in this case, let's use an example of Meta and Sony coming together to establish standards to make the metaverse accessible in familiar ways. And I guess the only analogy I can think of is like if I asked you about streaming services, or if I had you test out different streaming services, you wouldn't have to relearn every single streaming service. You just would get there and you'd be like, oh, cool, I get it. There's like thumbnails of movies and shows, and I get to like there's categories on the side, and you kind of have this flow that you're familiar with, even though the UI might be different and the branding's different. So that's what threw me off, because if they want to standardize this term of the metaverse so that when people say it, they know exactly what you're talking about, then there's going to have to be some, I mean, I don't know, like, what could that mean? Like, they're not going to decentralize anytime soon. So is it just a platform? Is the metaverse by definition going to be a platform where different mediums are unified in a sort of seamless experience? Like, I could like watch a concert and then like pop over to my left and suddenly I'm in Swordsman fighting something, and like, oh, my, you know, the break is over in the concert and I just like hop out, the world pauses. Like, is that really, that kind of sounds like what it is. It's a platform. It's a seamless platform, essentially.
Yeah. But seamless to the seamless to Sony only, right? I mean, it's like when we talk about Metaverse, exactly. It's you think of something a little bit more ubiquitous, but it's not. It's still going to be very platform to platform. Like Facebook will have their own Metaverse, and Sony will have their own Metaverse, and it's kind of, the question is like, well, you know, it sort of kind of ruins, I think, the image that we all sort of had of the future, when we realize that, like, oh, well, there's still going to be this, these corporations are not going to work together and do something that you know, kind of like unites all players. They're still going to want to retain their own player base, and so that kind of ruins any image anybody had of the metaverse, which isn't really. I know where we're going with this, but here I was about to bring up an article that summarizes perfectly, but for some reason
I was gonna say it's not really even a metaverse at that point. It's just a platform that just works differently. They've revamped the user interface or implemented VR support. Like, it's not, because when you think of the metaverse, or at least when I think of the metaverse, it is about that kind of unity. You know, you're stepping through this like barrier between reality and virtual reality, and when you're there, it's a singular reality. It's, everything is interconnected like the internet is. It's not like, because it's not, I mean, the way that they're describing it and the way that it kind of works centralized, where like each corporation has their own quote unquote metaverse, it's worse than the internet, because at least on the internet I can go to their websites through one browser. I can't even do that here. It's just a platform. So that's actually what gives me a little bit of hope, because I think in the long run, and I don't know when this will be, Wes, before the call started, you said that it's a long ways out, so I'm curious what you think. But like, if we can get to a place where it becomes beneficial for all these platforms to unify and to decentralize, and, you know, to give a lot of power to the actual players and to connect them in those kinds of ways, I think that'll be the metaverse.
Yeah, I think I do think it's going to take some time to kind of establish what everyone's vision of the unified metaverse is. But I do think that we'll get there, and I think it's very telling that Facebook, for example, or Meta, kind of started off talking about this as something that they were building, but then in you know, less than a year ago, they kind of changed their messaging as, you know, we can't build the metaverse by ourselves. And now here we have Sony largely saying the same thing. The way I look at the metaverse is kind of the next iteration of the internet that's built around presence and kind of this shared digital space. And when I say shared digital space, obviously we're going to have, every company and every platform is going to have its own little bubble, right? It's that connective tissue in between. When that gets established, that's really going to be when this thing comes to fruition. And the way I look at it is, if the metaverse is the next version of the internet, the World Wide Web, then this connective tissue is kind of going to be like the Googles of the world, the Yahoos, the search engine, kind of the medium, the highway in between all of these bubbles. And I do think it is going to take some measure of, agreement between companies that have largely been competitors up to this point. But I think that in a scenario where there's, mutually beneficial solutions to be found, those solutions will be found. So I do think that this will come to fruition sometime. But again, we're in the very earliest stages of building, each company building their own thing. This is kind of the next phase that we're talking about here. 5 to 10 years from now, most likely.
Yeah, I got this article from Reuters. I think really does it well. I don't know why it's on my web browser. It's coming up as normal, but in here it's like sort of like this weird dark mode. But they said Sony readies the metaverse revolution with cross-platform push. Japanese conglomerate Sony Group Corp said it's well positioned to play a leading role in the metaverse or immersive virtual worlds, which commentators speculate will massively disrupt industries and establish new powerhouses. The metaverse is a vague term encapsulating the idea that consumers will spend more time in online simulated environments. While the concept is evolving, it has become a buzzword in briefings and a driver of industry deal making. Let's see. The metaverse is at the same time a social space and live network space where games, music, and movies, Kondo apparently, and anime intersect, says Chief Executive Konichiro Yoshida at the strategy meeting today, pointing to the use of free-to-play battle royale title Fortnite from Epic Games as an online social space. I find it really strange that he's using Fortnite as an example of like, not an example of metaverse, but something that sort of encapsulates what they're looking to do. Do you think that? I mean, it's obviously because of where we're at with PSVR 2 information. They didn't want to just like publicly talk about PSVR 2 and talk about that much in today's conversation. But does it really mean? I mean, are they looking at the metaverse to be something that's just not VR specific, where like anybody you jump into the same universe on your flat screen the second you turn on your PS4, your PS5, whatever, or any Sony device, meaning your tablet or your phone or anything, that you're going to be entering this virtual space? Do you think that's really what they're looking for here at the future of the metaverse or their metaverse?
Oh, for sure. This new digital space that they're building is going to be accessible through all different manner of devices to varying degrees. Obviously, if you're experiencing it on a tablet or a smartphone, you're only going to be getting about 10% of the what's possible through a full XR headset, wireless 5G thing 5 years from now. I think that they expect people to kind of start their experiences on that level, because this is the technology that's in everyone's pocket right now. And as they sort of see, the possibilities, then this is kind of what's going to drag people into buying more expensive and more involved equipment. And I think that they're counting on by the time that people really want to, have the full immersive experience, that the devices are going to be small enough, compact enough, easy enough to use, and affordable enough that they're going to be able to kind of meet demand and provide this kind of comfortable, seamless experience to everyone. So yeah, I very much think that this is not just a VR thing, but I think that VR, AR, XR is going to be kind of the best way to experience it in the relative, midterm. After we get further than 10 years out, we're talking about, BCI, brain interfaces, and different kinds of technology.
Yeah.
What comes after VR is kind of really going to be the true application of the metaverse, right? But in the foreseeable future, VR is going to be kind of the best way to consume it.
I love the... Yeah, sorry, Brian, go ahead.
Well, Xenomorph in the chat says on the flat screen, it's just called the internet. And there's a level, I think there's a level of truth to that. I think he's trying to be funny, but I think he's actually right where the metaverse to me only makes sense in a VR space, because on a flat screen, you're like, well, I just want to be able to quickly switch between different apps, and I want to quickly switch between doing this over here and doing this over here. I don't want it to be connected. I don't need it to be connected. In fact, like having it connected will actually hinder my experience because I don't need to use a virtual space to, transition from one thing to another. Whereas in VR, we do want that seamless experience. We do want to say, hey, let's, look, all my friends are hanging out here in my virtual apartment, and let's all take a stroll down and go to a movie together in big screen. And then, oh, the movie's over. You guys want to go play around the walkabout? And we all walk down to and so it becomes this virtual thing, this space. But on the flat screen, you go, let's click over to this other app. We don't need to, unify everything in this metaverse. And so I think, I think Xenomorph's comment was fucking kind of brilliant, honestly, and summarizes my entire thoughts of the day.
I mean, if you think about it on the internet, it is unified in that way because right now I have a bunch of Chrome tabs open. So that's my way of navigating between these things seamlessly and effortlessly. It's the Fortnite references, like you were saying, were interesting in that meeting because Fortnite is to some degree what they were describing. I know they did concerts in Fortnite, and you've got skins and stuff where different franchises start to blend in and out. It's not just about Battle Royale. And so that kind of unification of mediums and industries and genres and all these different things, you could imagine this is a sort of central philosophy. I mean, that's really what they were trying to get across. And what Wes was saying was a good point too, which is it's most likely not going to be a VR thing, and it's probably going to start off as not a VR thing for the most part. And just out of practicality, they're going to rely on developers and the communities and the technology and the hardware and the software. They're going to rely on this stuff from the VR side to evolve to the point where they can reliably, get returns from the metaverse as a VR thing. Because Sony can't on their own build the metaverse in VR. Facebook or Meta can't do it on their own either. It's just a kind of a thing where the metaverse is this infrastructure, and VR will make its way in deeper and deeper as it naturally progresses, I guess, as it kind of becomes more and more part of our lives. And actually, on that note, I wanted to mention, I actually like that there are these, at least for now, different quote unquote metaverses. Sony's focusing on this entertainment blend of things, and Meta's focusing on work and life and social side of things. But that side of Meta appealing to or trying to appeal to everyday people who might not care about games, who aren't gamers, who are moms and dads and teachers and office workers and whatever, because you're gonna get inevitably a lot of new people coming for the VR. You're gonna create a lot of new gamers or generations of gamers, and yeah, I'm just hoping at some point these things start to make more sense in the way that streaming platform thing example I brought up makes sense, where it's just I know exactly what we're talking about. I know how to use it. Even if I've never used this particular one before, I know how to get in and kind of find my way around. It's gonna be exciting to see.
And I think it's also important that we do note that this kind of physical space inside the digital world that we're all thinking of when we think metaverse, while that is the main aspect of it, there is the other side of it too, where they're bringing the internet into our physical space. So when you talk about experiencing the metaverse with a flat screen device, you're talking now about AR application, where you go out into your real world and then you peer through your screen or through your smart glasses, and then you start to see the metaverse bleed onto our physical world. So so I get you. When you talk about, you don't have to sell me on VR. Obviously, when I go to Rec Room, I don't play it on the flat screen. I get into the headset. But I don't think that that's really what they mean, or really the way that flat devices are going to be used to interface with the metaverse. I think there's going to be new and interesting technologies emerge, not only with the way that they deliver the data, but I mean, there's going to be new display technologies, 3D displays, holographic displays. Flat screen or flat panel displays aren't going to be so flat in a few years. They're going to have 3D aspects to them as well. Again, I think that there's about to be a pretty big paradigm shift in the tech world in general, and I think that it's kind of hard for us to fathom right now just how different things are going to be in a few years.
I saw something that tripped me up recently. Like, I think I was browsing on a Quest, and there's like ads, and even on their homepage, like where their the game library is, like some thumbnails are 3D. And I know that's not that shocking in VR, but like when I think about libraries with thumbnails or websites with ads, like I don't think of them as being 3D. And so to see that kind of pop out, it was really weird. It reminded me of like Back to the Future, like the way that they envision 3-dimensional advertising. Like it's almost like we're creeping up into this future, but it's all happening so quickly, and at the same time it's kind of vague. And I think that's why it's a little confusing, because people also have notions of what they expect the metaverse to be like Ready Player One, the movie, right, for example, set a standard to some degree, and it's like anything that's not that might not seem like the metaverse. And a lot of people make comments like, oh, they're just remaking Second Life and pretending they invented something new. And it's like, yeah, but Wes, you're right, like a lot of new tech and just a transformation of how we experience entertainment and data.
Yeah, and there's so many different emerging technologies right now, and they're not all going to make it. And I kind of think that's it's going to be interesting to find out which of these the market chooses and which of them get kind of cast aside, and really that in and of itself is going to kind of determine in the near term what the non-VR metaverse is going to be.
Or if it all just gets cast aside, we go, oh, this wasn't the future after all. Like, this isn't what people are looking for. This isn't what people want. I mean, unless they it very well could backfire. I do think that there's, as Alek said, there's an expectation of what the metaverse is going to be because of things like Ready Player One and because of our own expectations and just our visions of the future. And if none of that pans out, and we're all just like severely disappointed by what we see, and just go, no, we're good without this. This is quite the possibility that none of this pans out and wasted trillions of dollars.
Well, it's good that there is an expectation, and the more they know about that expectation, the better, because then they'll have that pressure to realize that, because they want to capitalize on it. They want to give people what they want, so that we throw their money at them or our money at them. So. I'm just hoping they guide it in a way that actually caters to what people want.
Well, science fiction has always kind of been a good indicator for where technology is going, and they say life imitates art, and I think that will be kind of the case here as well. But we might not get exactly the Ready Player One experience, but I bet that it's more like it than unlike it.
Yeah.
Holodecks. That's what we need. We just need holodecks.
Yeah. Yeah. AJ was saying in the comments, those billboards in Japan are sick. I think he's talking about those 3-dimensional ones, or they look 3D, but they're like on the corner of a building. And there's like a shark that comes out, or like a lion.
So it is like Back to the Future too.
It's literally Back to the Future. Yeah.
Nice. All right, gentlemen. This has been. I mean, I gotta say. This is one of those days where everything kind of happened backwards, where I was like, okay, what are we going to talk about today? Oh, look, there's news about Sony talking about the metaverse. Perfect. Let's make the thumbnail. Let's blah, 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 whatever. And then and then I'll go figure it out after the fact, go figure out what the contents of the show are going to be after I set the show up. And so I will say that, again, I know a lot of this has to do with where Sony is with talking about PSVR 2. And if they had been a little more public about the things they've said about PSVR 2, it would have been a much bigger part of today's show. Yeah. However, I do feel like maybe they jumped the gun a little bit. And if they had this investor meeting next year and it involved PSVR 2 and the metaverse, I think it could have been. Obviously, we're not investors. We're not the people that this is marketed towards. And I get that, and I'm always cognizant of the fact that we're not the audience for this particular piece of video. the investors are the audience. People who are like, is Sony going to make us money this year? And from that regard, they did a great job. But for anybody who's just like actually interested about like what Sony's really doing, this was about as boring as stuff comes. And so going back and actually watching the video after creating the thumbnail, creating the setting up the live stream, I was like horribly disappointed. I was like, oh wow, like so it's Sony's vision of the metaverse is like nothing. No one else's vision of the metaverse. So, according to this, what was
that tripped me up too. Yeah, it's basically the same thing, just more geared towards entertainment.
Yeah. Condo. Right.
Yeah, condo. It's kind of cool though, because like even though these kinds of meetings are geared towards their investors and shareholders and stuff, like that adds pressure. So things that they say they're going to do or things that they say they've done, they have to take a little more seriously, because now there's expectation from investors, from the people that matter to them that much. So it is dry, but like it's a more grounded, I guess, view into kinds of things we might see.
Right. We need the E3 metaverse presentation.
Yeah, we need the marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think basically they just had to talk about it. Not just because it's the hot thing in the tech space right now, but they had to talk about it because it is an investor meeting and they have put a ton of money into Epic Games. And when you look at what Epic Games is talking about, Epic Games is talking about the metaverse. So I think that's why they brought Fortnite up, and that's probably why they're talking about the metaverse at all during this investor meeting. What is it, like $1.5 billion they put into Epic Games? They have to, kind of give some explanation for that, right? Other than they make really great games, and Unreal Engine 5 is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, when it comes down to the metaverse and Epic Games and Fortnite and Sony's interest in all of this, it's fascinating to kind of see that they've got this reputation, this relationship with Epic Games that goes back years when Epic was first, trying to get cross-platform play on Fortnite up and running on PlayStation 4, right? And they were like, come on, let's. Those emails went public, and it was interesting to see. Hey, we know that you've got another VR headset in the works, and we're more than happy to have a launch game for you available for the launch of your next headset, which is kind of crazy to be like, oh yeah, 4 years ago they had this conversation about Fortnite, and here we are 4 years in the future, and talking about the metaverse. And every time they bring up the metaverse, they can't stop talking about Fortnite, and you're like, all right, well, let's take the next step and just let's see what Epic has to show when it comes to PSVR 2, because I do feel like there's a reason for them talking about it like this. All the puzzle pieces are kind of finally connecting.
Yeah, pretty rapidly too, which is fun.
Rest in peace, Pop One. Right.
Wally is now a Gamecat, specifically a White Tiger with a Canadian $5 tip, says, it's been 2 months since the last PSVR 2 update. I'm assuming was that CES? No, that wasn't CES. CES was like January, February, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was something that came, I want to say late February, but it escapes me now what it actually was.
I know, in the desert, man, it's just like, it all looks dry. Any suggestions for Sony to give us something UI related, Horizon game, anything? Wally, I mean, from my perspective, like, Sony's got 9 months before PSVR 2 releases, and that's a lot of time to fill. And so I say they do the exact same thing that they did with PS5. Like they say, hey, today we're gonna show off the UI, and then they do a state of play or something where they say, hey, here's 20 minutes of Horizon Call of the Mountain, and then they do, hey, here's the launch lineup, and here's the price, and here's when pre-orders go live, and here's it's they can certainly spread that stuff out. And if there's as much stuff as as we think there is going on with PSVR 2, then there's actually like plenty of different events that they could plan between now and then, whether it be larger PlayStation events or PSVR 2 focused events. Either way, I think there's a whole lot of shit. Oh, thank you, Onakaze. The GDC talk that Unity gave. That's what that was with the eye
there you
tracking
go.
and all that. That was that's what that was. Good call, man. Good call. My brain's fried these days. What do you guys think? What do you think should be the next thing that Sony shows off for PSVR 2? When should they do it? What should it be?
Well, I mean, in a perfect world, I would like to see something similar to what we saw during the launch phase of the original PlayStation VR, where we had a good 6-month period of game reveals. That's what came next in this phase. The first time around, they revealed the name of it. They revealed, kind of the specs, and then after that, we had a period of game reveals, which ended about 6 months later when they gave the launch window, the pre-order day, and the launch pricing. So I would like to see something similar to that, but I do think it'll be something, like you said, a little more similar to what they did with PS5, where they're just radio silent until they're pretty much ready to put the thing on for pre-order. I think they like this kind of approach now of letting anticipation build, because it's easy for them. All they have to do is not say anything, right? And we're all sitting here, just grinding our palms together, waiting for any little bit of information. And the longer they wait, the more this will grow. But there is a point too, I guess, where that it becomes too much and people start to get frustrated and tune out.
That point was a fucking year ago, right? That point was a year ago. We've seen so many cats drop off and say fuck Sony. Like, this is done. Like, we just can't sit here and wait for information anymore. We can't sit here and just like keep our fingers crossed that like this is coming, or like we don't all of this sort of. So when anytime like Jim Ryan or was talking, it would always be like in these. He would never give a definitive information about anything. Like, oh, is PSVR 2 coming? Yes. Is VR the future of Sony? Yes. Blah blah blah. But maybe not this year, not next year. It was like it just wasn't. Just give us a fucking date, man. Give us a year, right? And here we are. We're almost halfway through 2022, and Sony hasn't said 2023 yet, right? We're the only ones out here, like, and by we I mean me. I'm jumping up and down, being like Q1 2023. Like that is what I've heard, and that's people are still very adamant that it's coming later this year. Some people are adamant it's coming holiday next year. It's like, how are we halfway through 2022 and we don't know if the thing's coming out this year or not? Like, it's kind of out of control when you think about it,
Well,
yeah,
maybe when Jim Ryan said not this year, not next year, maybe that was literal. And I mean that was last year that he said that. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now it's becoming very clear that it was more literal than anybody expected, and including myself. Like, I was like, oh, he's not saying that literally. He was. Anyway.
I can't imagine how this is a good move. Like, Sony is in a very unique position of, hey, we have affordable VR. We have affordable high-end VR. Like, that's a very interesting and very, very powerful place to be in. You could buy a Quest for pretty cheap, but you're not going to get great quality content on there. I mean, it's good content, but like in terms of the fidelity that you could expect out of a console, especially a PS5, or you could buy PC VR if you have the money, and it's a little more out there. But
yeah,
you would think Sony would be anxious to show us what devs have been working on for the PSVR 2. And I mean, I genuinely don't have any, like, even stuff I can't say. I'm just as lost as you guys are. I know there's a lot of dev kits out there. I know a bunch of studios got dev kits early. I know there's really cool stuff being worked on, and you guys know this too. I don't know how it's beneficial for Sony to kind of drag their feet on this, because they could get people really excited. Yeah. They could get a whole generation of VR gamers who have never experienced VR hyped and ready for this thing. With drip feed marketing, just give us stuff constantly. There's definitely stuff there to give us. It just kind of ends up feeling, and I hope I'm wrong, but it ends up feeling like they don't prioritize VR enough. Because I expect them to be putting a lot more money into the marketing and into that side of things.
It could be just the opposite, though. I mean, I hear everything that you're saying. They could be waiting on their first party studios to catch up. I mean, yeah, there's lots of kids out there and a lot of things that they could share, but their whole messaging with PS5 was we believe in generational leaps. And it could be that PSVR 2 is going to be so next level in terms of the games. I mean, there are people out there who believe and leakers, insiders who say that Sony wants all of their first party exclusive titles for PS5 to have VR support, all of them. So if that's the case, it could be that they're waiting till they have just this launch lineup or at least this, a lineup of first year titles, let's say, that is just so far and above anything that VR has ever seen. Maybe they want to make that kind of a leap and they're just not quite ready for that kind of a reveal yet. Maybe they want to have reveal 5 to 10 first party exclusives that are going to launch in the first 1 to 2 years. And maybe that they want to have that as their initial reveal of PlayStation 2 or VR 2, so PSVR 2. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It could be, one way or the other. I guess we won't know until it happens. But the eternal optimist in me likes to think that that's going to be the case. Like it's going to be so over the top awesome that they're just not ready for it quite yet.
You might be right, because if they dropped crazy content on us that got us hyped, but no release date, like that would be a little anticlimactic. It's like all this amazing stuff's going on. We've got GTA 6 and VR and like all this crazy, but we don't know when. And so now people are excited about something that they don't even know if they're gonna get this year or next year. How excited should I be? I don't really know. Yeah, I hope it goes. I hope that's the direction it's going in, because I mean, even their partnership with Epic, and like there's such a strong foundation for them to blow it out of the water. I really hope that they do. And I mean, I am optimistic that they will. I wish I knew more.
I like that Hess Barber is in the chat, and from First Contact Entertainment, saying that Alek must know something. I think we all look at Hess and go, Hess, you probably know something, so fucking spill the beans in the chat, man. Let's hear it.
Oh man!
But what I think, I mean, I do think you're absolutely right that Sony could get a whole bunch of people excited about VR right now if they start talking about PSVR 2 right now and start showing games. But it's I think in the grand scheme of things, like how many consoles did PlayStation 4 actually sell? Like 120, 130 million units, something like that. Like we're dealing
100 and something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about VR, PlayStation 5, 6 years ago, over the course of the last 6 years, only managed to sell 5 or 6 million units. Everybody jumped up and down about Meta shipping 10 million Quest 2s, but I mean, like, how many of those sold through? Half? I mean, there's like 50 on every single store that I go to. There's 50 on the shelves. So start doing some multiplication, man, and there's like easily 5 million units still sitting on shelves from Christmas. And so how many VR gamers are really out there, right? And so I think that Sony feels like they don't have to like really rush out and get those people, because the people that they're gonna impress are those people for sure, but also like the regular flat screen gamers. I think they're looking more at the user base of 140 million, and not the 6 to 7 million people who casually own a PSVR or Quest. Like a lot of people are not hardcore about VR gaming. Yeah. And so like the longer they wait, sort of the better. And it gives them more opportunity to blow people out of the water when it finally happens. So.
I just hope they're able to capitalize on console players, because like getting closer to a PSVR 2 launch, and now being like halfway through this year, I know a lot of PSVR people are using Quests, and for people who have a PS5 or PS4, who don't have VR yet, they're probably not gonna get a PS4. Like, are PSVRs still selling well in general as a VR unit? I don't know. Like that's the thing. Like, if a lot of PS5 users have Quests, will they, or if they just got Quests, like, can they afford to buy a PSVR 2 now? Like, I'm just hoping that Sony's planning well and things go well. Because like for me, I'm personally like, very excited for the console side of things. Like it's such a nice middle ground of what we can do on the console, and the amount of people that are on it. Like it's such a nice blend of that.
I think that you're absolutely right, Brian. I think that they are aiming for that larger user base of traditional gamers. I think that this next generation VR, is going to be a real attempt from them to make VR mainstream for gamers. Now, what Meta is doing is all well and good, and they are killing it over there, but they're not just selling headsets to gamers. They're selling headsets to the everyman. They're selling headsets to old people and people who want to work in VR and people who want to get fit by exercising in VR. Sony is trying to win over the base of traditional gamers, and it's going to take a real effort to do that. And I think that they're preparing to make that kind of monumental effort here.
There's been a bunch of great comments in the chat, but let's take care of the tips first. Orion, I always mispronounce the name, with the 35 cubic zirconia says, could the silence be due to Sony being embarrassed about the delay to Q1 2023? I think there's no embarrassment, I don't think, because I think Sony's too fucking arrogant to be embarrassed about jack shit, to be honest with you. But I do think that they are aware they can't start hyping up a product now, and keep that momentum going, keep the hype train going for 9 months. In the later they wait in the year to start talking more about PSVR 2, the less of a wait that Q1 seems to be, right? If they're talking about it now, people go, oh, it's 9 months away, damn it. But if they don't tell us that for another 6 months and they go, oh, it's only 3 months away, sweet, right? It's like, I don't know. I don't think they're embarrassed about anything. I think they're just patient, way more patient than we are as gamers. I had another tip here. I'm sorry. It was Joey Bats 33 with the $5 tip says, my cat, Mr. Meowgy, Gii, wants to ask, is there a PSVR C for cats? If only. Dude, sometimes I look at Tornado and I'm like, you look really bored. I wish I could pop a VR headset on you and let you run around and be crazy. Yeah.
You have to get a Meowculus. Meowculus?
And I'm just looking for one more. No, that was good. There's one more comment in chat. Your Long Shadows is Gamecat Meow says, the community forgiving them, meaning Sony, relies on Sony hosting a banger release show for PSVR 2. Hour-long, amazing showcase after amazing showcase, reveal our brains out. And I think that says it absolutely best. When we're, I don't think we're going to be thinking about all of this time that we had to wait for PSVR 2 and all the speculation and everything else. Once we have it in our hands or once they start talking about it, all this is going to start feeling very far behind us. And so I really do hope that Your Long Shadows is onto something, like that this really has to be, you have to make up for all the silence. You have to make up for all this delay, if you want to call it that, by just really blowing us out of the water.
Well, we could get a hybrid reveal, since the drive is going to be hybrid games, and that's going to be the big seller. This might not be a VR exclusive event. It could be a larger Sony event where they show the next, big first party exclusive. And then at the end of every trailer, okay, and this is what you can expect from this game if you have PSVR 2. Mm. Time after time after time after time. For an hour, probably not, but hopefully, right? That would be awesome.
That's the hope, man. It's funny. A lot of people, when I go out into the real world and look outside of Without Parole, look at traditional websites, everybody's using the term hybrid game. Everybody's talking about this, and it's fascinating to me. I just want to toot my own horn. Sony's never said hybrid games. They've never talked about hybrid games publicly. Without Parole is the only one who's ever said this is what Sony's plan is. So I just find it fascinating that everybody, people are like, oh, Brian Powell's nobody's fucking talking about Q1 2023, my ass, and then they say, oh, but hybrid games. Wait a minute, Same source, you motherfuckers. I just wanted to put that out there, okay? And I think that's probably a good transition. Hey, good luck on the job interview, Neon Groove. Good luck. He's probably already gone, but like everybody, wish Neon Groove luck. Guys, it's probably a good transition to get into PSVR 20 questions with our host, Alek Sin. Alek's got a PSVR game in mind, and Wes and I have 20 yes or no questions. I love the team aspect of this. We haven't had this for a while since Dave left the show. So I am very excited to try to guess what game Alek is thinking of. Wes, are you up to the task today, man? Are we going to be able to do this? We knock this shit out of the park?
I'm confident, Brian, that since you are part of the team, that we're going to do just fine.
Dude, I was going to sit back and let you take the reins, but what are you going to do? All right, guys, we're going to need your help.
Being too easy.
You're worried about it being too easy?
No, I'm always worried about this being too easy.
Oh,
not that it is or isn't. Because you guys know your stuff, man.
Yeah, but not once the game starts. Once the game starts, I forget about every PSVR game I've ever played.
Yeah.
Right. All right, let's put 6 minutes up on the clock and the clock up on the count of the way that Jeremy likes it, and let's get that shit started. Wes, take it away, man.
Did you develop this game?
No.
Well, there goes all my thoughts. Is the primary thing you're doing in this game shooting?
No.
Okay.
Is this a puzzle game?
A little bit. Not really, maybe. We could not count that one. I mean, it does give you some info, though, so maybe we count it as a half question.
I don't think that's how this works. Let's count it as a question. Some puzzles, not shooting. It's not a Sin-developed game. Do you have full locomotion in this game?
Can you be more specific?
No. Is it okay? Let me ask. Does this game rely on teleportation only?
No.
Okay. Not teleportation, but obviously, Wes, keep this in mind, man, that it's not traditional full locomotion. Something is up with that question. That's going to be a hint for us, okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I had one.
No, I mean,
recently too.
I don't want to throw you off unnecessarily because, like, when you ask about the locomotion thing, it's like, because like, I don't want to. No.
Does this game involve? Well, no, I probably is this game story driven?
Yes.
Okay, there's some puzzles. It's story driven. I wrote story because I can't think straight. Not is it? Are you? Everybody in the chat's like,
he's AJ.
Alek is pulling an AJ. I'm glad we've finally gotten the definition down to that word. When you AJ something, you do this. Is there any multiplayer?
No.
Okay. Oh, should we ask about vehicles, Wes? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask last time, but puzzles. There's some kind of puzzling involved.
Yeah, that's true.
You guys, do you guys count leaderboards as multiplayer?
I mean, I guess not. Multiplayer. But
okay, so no. You're talking about gameplay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with no.
So now
is this number 6 now or number 7? I messed this up last time.
Your only job, besides saying yes and no, which you're also not doing so well at, Alek,
I know.
is to count which question we're on.
You know what? I should have drawn the...
Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah. All right, we're on number 7.
Brian, story driven with leaderboards, Brian, with some puzzles.
Oh, yeah, I'm actually not sure about the leaderboards. I haven't looked it up. I don't remember if it has.
You don't know. But it's something
it might not.
Oh, man. Wait, let me ask this, because the teleportation thing, the locomotion thing got me thinking. Is it third person? Is there any third person element here?
Trying to remember if there was one part that did. I'll say no. Well, just not to confuse you more. No.
Okay, so we're thinking pretty much first person.
Is this game, this story-driven game, is it part of a known franchise or known IP?
Oh, good question.
Yes. I mean, it's not like there isn't more than one of them, if that's what you mean. But it's a
is it
known
like
IP.
it's a known brand.
Yeah. It's
there
not
are
like some arbitrary, like some, some. Yeah.
It's known brand. Known brand. Is there a flat screen version of this game?
Yes.
Oh.
Hmm.
Can we track it down to developer? Or should we ask about if they made other games, or is that not going to help you?
Yeah. Has this developer made other PSVR titles?
I don't believe so. No.
All right, yeah. Let's get the control scheme down. Does this use the Move controllers?
Yes.
But it's also got
First
flat
person
screen
game.
version.
Oh yeah, it's got a flat screen version. That's
Can't
and
be
move
Trover,
support.
because Trover uses DualShock, and that's definitely third person. Oh my god!
Yeah.
All right, let's just start spouting out
Wait,
questions,
guys.
man.
Sorry, my internet cut out. You said Trover uses DualShocks, but you didn't ask me if this game uses DualShocks. You only asked me if it uses Move controllers.
True.
Right.
So it could use DualShock. I don't know. Do you want to use that?
But Trevor doesn't use move controllers, does it?
No.
Exactly. So
No. Right. Is there a horror slant at all to this game?
No.
No horror. Oh no, I'm so screwed now.
By the way, I have no idea what question we're on. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We're running out of time.
Is this game? Is it a comedy game?
No. Do you guys want to give you a hint?
Not yet. Is there a lot of dialogue in this game?
No.
No.
Here. I'll give you a hint on that. There's very few dialogue in this game.
I'm so fucking lost right now.
Okay, I'll do better. This game has the least amount of dialogue of any game in the world, but not none.
But not none. The least amount of dialogue of any. We're totally out of time. But now there's the least amount of dialogue in any game in the world, but not none. Wouldn't the game with the least amount of dialogue in the world have no dialogue?
That's true.
No, because the least amount of something is still an amount of something.
That's
Not an absence of
that's
something.
true. Right. Zero is not an amount; it's a lack of an amount. Right. Man, I'm completely
lost too, and
man.
we're so out of time. I think it's time for the reveal, Alek. It certainly wasn't too easy. What was the game?
I thought it was gonna be a lot easier. It's super hot.
Oh man, super hot.
All they say the whole time is just super hot. The word.
I mean, I guess it kind of is super hot. I mean,
Well, it's like
driven.
yeah, you have to you're in the. It's a very vague story. Like it's very mysterious, but there is a.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it story driven. Like it's got a vague backstory.
Well, aren't you like trying to? It's been a while since I played, but you're trying to kind of like escape from.
The questions are so. Yeah, so there is a flat screen version of this game. Technically, it's not made by you. That's definitely true. It's not the primary thing you're doing in this game is not shooting. I feel like there's a lot of shooting in this game.
There is a lot of shooting.
There is, but you're often having to like throw a thing, dodge, get the gun.
Just because you do other things too doesn't mean that there's not a lot of shooting in the game.
Well, would you say that most of the time you're shooting?
That wasn't the question.
Yeah, it was. He said
the primary thing
primarily shooting. Yeah, because
primary. Well,
if I said
I
it might have been confusing then, because then you might assume, oh, it's just a shooter. You have guns and you shoot.
Yeah,
okay. Whatever.
we should have been able to get there. We should be able to get there. But
here's the one that the movement one is what I wasn't sure about, because the whole point of it is to move through space, but not with inputs.
Right, you're moving around, but
with your body.
But then the game
you have to
automatically kind of like teleports you
Yeah,
from
we
place
assumed,
to place.
Yeah, but
We
even then,
assumed
those are
there
like
was
transitions.
locomotion.
Yeah.
That should have been the
Yeah.
giveaway for us. The locomotion thing should have been the giveaway.
Yeah, for sure. No, that should have been a huge hint. Anyway,
I'm sorry. I know. I'm
Alek really AJ'd it. That is
I did,
sci-fi
yeah.
GameCat Henry's comment. Guys, we need to get out of here. It's been awesome hanging out with you and talking about the metaverse. The metaverse, I guess. That's what we were talking about. And obviously, Swordsman VR getting a physical release from Limited Run Games. Guys, do not forget, this Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern is when the first batch goes on sale. Limited Run Games, only 1,500 available, $34.99. And so make sure that you get in the first batch. If not, I think the second batch usually goes on sale. I'm an LRG veteran. Usually it's 6 p.m. if you miss out on the first batch. So that is your little scoop there. Go get Swordsman VR. Alek, is there anything happening over on at Sin Studio? Are you promoting any events? Anything going on that you can plug right now, or not quite?
Yeah, I mean, on the 26th, we have a live stream. We're going to give away a bunch of studio hoodies, quests, like a bunch of fun stuff. We're going to share a bunch of things about Swordsman that we haven't shared before. Basically, we're just going to leak a bunch of stuff that we weren't going to talk about yet, but we're just going to make it a fun show. And yeah, and the update on June 9th.
And where do you do the where do you stream? Is it on YouTube? Is it on the Sin Studio
Yes.
YouTube channel?
Sorry, it's on Twitch.
Twitch.
If people are in our Discord server, the link is in the stream channel. But I could just it's twitch.tv/Sin Studio.
There we go.
On the 26th.
And Wes, is there anything happening in the land of virtual strangers this week?
Oh, is there ever, Brian? We are talking tonight on Strangers in the Night. We're talking about our experience in Resident Evil 7 VR yesterday with full motion controllers, which, spoiler alert, it was awesome. And we're going to try to do, if my computer is strong enough, we're going to try to do a real-time review of Resident Evil Village in VR, which is kind of, for those of you who don't know, real-time review is a hybrid podcast / live stream where my co-hosts stay on screen talking about a game as I play it behind them in the background. So we're having a very Resident Evil show tonight. I think we're going to cover Afterlife VR, which we talked about on this channel a few weeks back. And if we have time, I don't know, we're going to have time. We're going to talk about the Quest version of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Tempest Fall, which comes out tomorrow, by the way.
Just jealous about the Resident Evil stuff, honestly. That's all I cared about. I stopped.
Awesome.
I tuned out as soon as you said that you had a better version of Resident Evil 7 in VR than I did. I was like, fuck that West guy. He sucks.
It's so beautiful. There's a lot of weirdness with it because obviously you're still playing the flat version. So like a lot of the animations and stuff take weird camera angles, and it's not always comfortable. But just having your hands, you can two-hand weapons, and plus, I mean, visually, it's a lot cleaner. All that shimmer, or most of the shimmer, is now kind of gone, and everything has a little more detail. It's really cool. It's awesome.
Nice. Well, thank you, Wes. Thank you, Alek. And of course, thank you to everybody out there, especially the people who support us on patreon.com/withoutparolegames, keeping the lights on during these slower times. Can't wait for PSVR 2 to come around so we have more exciting things to talk about. Also, thank you to everybody who supported us by tipping in the chat tonight. Thank you to everybody who helped me and Wes out as we tried to guess the 20 questions game. And of course, thank you to everybody who's out there, watches the show, doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there, and we love you just as much. That's it. Let's get out of here.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
See you guys.
Yo, Alek, what time is that? What time is that stream happening?
Yeah, I know. I forgot to mention.
That's okay. We're still live. We're still live. People.
We're still live.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
What time is the stream happening?
It's at 4 p.m. Eastern on the 26th.
4 p.m. Eastern on the 26th. Everybody, go join. Alek.
I saw people mentioning that on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, everybody, go join the Sin Studio Discord, so you can stay up to date on all of this stuff. I would put the link in the description, but that sounds like work.
Yeah. But it's all good.
But we can always pin a comment to this after the fact.
Yeah, I could post it. Yeah, for sure.
All right.